come from a background that has kind of like a Judeo-Christian principle kind of philosophy. And yeah, like most kids, you just go through the motions because you're just a kid. But then once again, like I mentioned before, I started looking at the results of the lives of the people that were giving me this information, right? So they were telling me who God was, right? But I was looking at their experiences, their marriages, not just my parents, but in general, right? The people around me, the people in those churches, things of this nature. And I was like, whoa, like this person says that God is love, but they treat me like shit. So I don't want that God, right? And I started questioning everything that I believed, which I believe is extremely healthy and anybody should do, because I was comparing it based off of what people were telling me. And people aren't the right measurement, right? You can't hold the standard of God to people because people are always going to fall short to it. So I realized I need to get to know who God is. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to read the Bible for 5 years. And the reason I did that was like under the premise that I needed to not be biased towards the world, right? I needed to go on a self-exploration journey. So I went through crazy exploration of psychedelics. I went through the crazy exploration of Judaism, which is, it's unbelievable. It's like, there's so much wisdom, so much knowledge there. It's like phenomenal. Went through the Gita, which is the Hindu text. I went through the Quran. I went through a lot of texts. And when it's all said and done, whether I ended up agreeing with a lot of the things that were mentioned or not, I came to realize that there's a lot of wisdom and a lot of truth and a lot of things that are told, and that a lot of these people had relationships with God, relationships with a higher power, without necessarily having texts or books. So I was like, can they actually have a personal relationship with God, that God speaks to them personally because they're aware, right? They're in tune. And I was like, let me test that. Let me test having a relationship with God where he actually speaks to me directly. And most of you guys don't experience God because you're so occupied and busy and there's so much noise, right? Because the brain's like an antenna. There's so much noise. There's
God whispers.
So much fuzziness, right? That when God speaks, you don't listen because you're not aware. So it requires this idea of, once it goes back to what I said in the beginning, you need to have enough to focus on yourself full time, because part of focusing on yourself full time is being able to spend time exploring truth, studying truth, dissecting these things that you believe in, and coming down to conclusions as to how the world works and who's in charge and what are the governing powers in the world, and is God real? And if he's real, why does he allow bad things to happen, right? Or if he's good, why do kids get bombed in Syria 24/7, right? All these existential questions, they're questions that if you have the ability to spend time focusing on yourself, you're going to be able to get to know God more in the process of learning. And it's a lifelong journey. You know, I think it's like there's a specific book that was written. I forget who the author was, but it's called Pilgrim's Progress. Have you read Pilgrim's Progress? You should read the book Pilgrim's Progress. It's this idea of the Christian's journey, right? He goes through Vanity Fair. He goes through different encounters with different entities. And it's a book that basically takes you through the journey of somebody getting to know God. So I'm in that journey of getting to know God, and it's a lifelong journey. But like I said in the beginning, in the kind of the 3 tenets, you need to be able to be teachable and humble and consistent. So if you can focus on being teachable, humble, and consistent, and you are in tune of what God wants to teach you, then he will.